But I didn't start that way. I didn't start with these high-end properties. I started from the bottom. Now we here. And so what I mean is do what you can with what you have where you are is you can start with the bedroom. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jorge Contreras Show, a podcast for real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and those who want to get to 10K a month with Airbnb. And today I have a very special topic dear to my heart, and it is how to overcome analysis paralysis when starting an Airbnb business. And one of the things that I've learned that probably 75% of my students have in common when they come to me for coaching and mentorship is over analyzing, wanting to know everything before they can do anything. The good thing is that they invested in coaching, mentorship, and now I'm going to coach them on their mindset, rewire their way of thinking, give them a roadmap, and give them a strategy. But I really want to focus this for those who are overthinking and haven't yet taken action. Okay, we call this analysis by paralysis when you want to know everything before you can do anything. And the only thing that it ends up doing is creating procrastination. Ladies and gentlemen, perfection creates procrastination. Okay, a lot of people have this idea that they're going to learn everything that there is to know about starting an Airbnb business. They watch hundreds of hours of videos on YouTube, on social media, thinking that one day they're going to arrive to this magical place where they know everything. And then they can finally start their Airbnb. And the problem with that is I've been operating Airbnbs for 5 years. I've been a real estate investor purchasing real estate for over a decade. I've been a full-time business owner, entrepreneur without a 9 to 5 for 15 years. I became financially free at 29, millionaire by 30. I own over $7 million in real estate. We do 6 figures a month with my Airbnb portfolio. And guess what? I don't know everything there is to know about Airbnb. And I don't think I will ever arrive to that place where I know everything there possibly is about Airbnb. You see, I realized that if I would have waited over the last 5 years to learn everything there was, one, I wouldn't have been financially free. I wouldn't have been a millionaire by now. I wouldn't have retired my wife. I wouldn't have retired my mother. I wouldn't be able to be a stay-at-home dad, raising my beautiful daughter Catalea and our daughter on the way, Athena. That's right, Athena is her name. We came up with the name, the warrior of war and peace. But anyways, there's just no way that I would be where I am at today if I tried to live and operate from the state of perfection that doesn't exist. So instead, I want to share with you some frameworks that I've done over the years that have supported me in growing not just my businesses, but more importantly, growing as a person. Because yes, we all want to create financial freedom, and the financial abundance that comes from Airbnb is amazing. But what's even more powerful is who you become in the process. A lot of people focus on the money. Yes, the money's great. Obviously, it's super important. But what's more important is who you become in the process of starting, growing, automating, and scaling your short-term rental business. So here is framework number 1, and that is do what you can with what you have where you are. I'll give you a great example of that. When I started my short-term rental business 5 years ago, my first 2 Airbnbs were in a city called Boyle Heights, which is in Los Angeles, 5 miles from downtown LA. And if you're not familiar with LA, with Boyle Heights, 6% of all murders that happen in LA happen in Boyle Heights. It is one of the worst cities to live in. Just high crime, gang activity, drug activity. A lot of the people, unfortunately that live there probably have bad credit, low income. Like it's just not the best place to like raise a family. And I would say that a lot of my guests, when they came and stayed at my Airbnb, they probably didn't feel safe staying there because it's not the greatest area. Often I got complaints about the area and the security of the area. And obviously, in the pictures of the Airbnb listing, it doesn't show the neighborhood. It's just the house from the outside, and mainly everything else is from the inside. So, a lot of times when they arrived, I even had a couple people that arrived to my properties and canceled their stay. I also only had one parking space per unit. So I had two units with two parking spaces total. So I gave each unit one parking space, but the second vehicle for each of those units had to always park in the street. And if you've ever lived or experienced living near downtown, especially downtown LA, there's a lot of people that actually park in these residential neighborhoods because there's no parking or they don't want to pay for parking in downtown LA. So often, not only did they have to walk 2 to 3 blocks to get to my property, to get to my Airbnb, but they actually had to walk uphill. And I could see it through the cameras. People tired, traveling from a different state, a different country, or a different city. They just want to get some rest. And they're having to walk their luggage uphill to get to my property. Now, that was 5 years ago. I no longer have that property. I actually ended up selling that property right before the pandemic. But long story short, the reason I'm sharing that story is I started with one of the worst properties that you could ever imagine. They were not renovated, didn't have the part, everything that I say today that an Airbnb should have, my properties didn't have any of that. They didn't have sufficient AC and heat. It was terrible. There was no insulation. The house was built in 1925 and there was no insulation. Insulation, so meaning when it was hot, it got really hot. And when it got cold, it got really, really cold. So it was bad all around. No AC, no heat, or there was, but you could just say there was no AC and heat. Not insufficient parking. There was just a bad neighborhood. It wasn't on the main street, but it was near the freeway. Like the freeway was on the other side. So long story short, a lot of the properties that I have today, super like just beautiful properties, high-end properties. Some of them are luxury properties. Some of them I rent, like some of my subleases today. I have multiple subleases that I pay $4,000 to $4,700 a month of rent. Again, on subleases, luxury properties. I also own a ton of real estate, $7 million worth of real estate. Some of my mortgage payments are $3,000 to $4,000. And so, but I didn't start that way. I didn't start with these high-end properties. I started from the bottom. Now we here. And so what I mean is do what you can with what you have where you are. Is you can start with a bedroom. You can start with the studio, an apartment, a condo. You can start with a small 2-1 house or apartment and then build up to bigger houses, to higher end properties, and build from there. Okay. So that's the first framework. It is do what you can with what you have where you are. The second framework I want to share with you today is to focus on progress, not perfection. As I mentioned, perfection does not exist. The only thing that exists and will ever exist is progress, making improvements. So that's the second framework. The third framework, it's not about how much you know. It's about your ability to take action fast and your ability to pivot as necessary. Okay? So start small and build from there. There's a powerful book that I highly recommend. If you're really struggling with just mindset, there's a really good book called The Compound Effect. And one of the things that I love about the Compound Effect book is it talks about this domino effect. And I want you to just imagine this small domino, this size. And then the second domino is twice the size of that one. And then the third domino is twice the size of the second one. And basically every domino keeps doubling in size. Well, after about 29 dominoes, that 29th domino is taller than the Empire State Building. And what's powerful is that if you knock down that 1-inch tiny domino that causes the huge, bigger than the Empire State Building domino to fall. But you wouldn't have knocked down that huge domino had you not dropped down or pushed that small, tiny domino. And that's why, again, you have to think progress over perfection. Do what you can with what you have where you are. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a short and sweet podcast episode. I hope that it was valuable to you. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at the Jorge Contreras. Follow me on YouTube. I got a YouTube channel where we're uploading videos every single week. And I also have a free ebook down in the description down below. So make sure you guys check that out. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you.